Picture, if you will, an Aboriginal standing out on a rock precipice. It's first thing in the morning. He's standing very, very still, opening up his senses. What does he hear? What does he smell moving upon the wind? What does he feel in his bones? How connected to the living world is he at that time? Where might the beckon of the natural world query his presence for the day ahead? Where might he find the victuals, the food source that will be required for his family? The air all around us all the time, but hardly ever really tuned into. And yet here he is, or she is, standing on that rock ledge, tuning into the messages that are moving upon that very wavelength. And it's connection to absolutely everything transpiring in that moment. Inspiring, exhilarating, warning. Is there danger afoot? You think of a muskrat poking its head out of the hole first thing in the morning, senses attuned and keyed to the slightest variation in energy shift. After all, survival depends on it. The elephant raising its tusks and its trunk into the air, taking a deep breath. Can you smell any tigers? Is that the smell of one of those acacia trees that is off in the distance that needs to be nibbled upon, trimmed, maybe pushed over so that the nice sweet leaves upon it can be nibbled upon? Often overlooked in our everyday experience of life is this connective process that the air provides for all of life to participate in a dance of the coming day. I think of the astrologers of old. Evening time comes around and they climb up onto the ziggurat, get up as high as they can so they can observe the millions of stars in the heaven and look for what has changed. What messages might be descending upon the current moment that is underway that they might tune into, to listen to that conversation of that red moving ball up there that just yesterday was just a few millimeters to the left. No, or was it to the right? Makes a difference. So the attunement to the energies that are in flow is still a basis of how the astrological matrix works. Some of us, as astrologers, have been working. I've been doing astrology now for 54 years. I am getting old, long in the tooth, it is true. To attune to those conversations that the planetary beings are having as they do their celestial dance around us. And whenever I sit down in front of an astrological chart, or I happen to look up at the sky on a non-cloudy time, which here in the Northwest at this time of the year is something that you almost have to order, special order up. And just am amazed at the immensity. I'm fortunate in that I live far enough away from the city that the light pollution is only minor. And what is it that these planetary beings, who are always in conversation and always have been, are saying to one another, and with any luck, persistence, or attunement, we can tune into? We just have to learn how to listen. So this week that's coming up, what do we have that's kind of magical? A few things. First of all, Valentine's Day, whatever that happens to mean within your appropriate circles. There are varying interpretations of what that could stand for, how it's played. Is it strictly a commercial venture? One wonders these days if that is not the case. This particular week, I'm going to pull up the chart so we can actually take a look at that. This is Monday. And on Monday, what do we have going on Monday? Do I have anything? The 13th. It's just after we have the new moon technically happening on the last or the waning quarter moon from Scorpio. Actually, here it is. It's Monday, 24 degrees, 24 degrees. The moon and the sun. There's the last quarter moon. Crisis in consciousness is one of the terms one of the fathers of modern astrology, Dane Rudhyar, would portray it as. For in that lunar cycle, this last quarter moon says, when you set your intentions at the new moon, there are bookmarks, the first quarter, full, and last quarter moons that, they carry just a little bit more weight as to the actual unfolding of that lunar cycle intention that was initiated at the new moon. This one was initiated at 1 degree of Aquarius. What intuitive or inspirational kinds of things were on the table for you then? What innovative things were you hoping to initiate during this lunar cycle, utilizing that Aquarian energy as invention, scientific, electric, or maybe just even in the way we interact with one another when we're in a group format? This is all Aquarian type energies. First quarter moon, crisis in action. The moon is getting bigger. There's action afoot. Something is growing. That inspiration that you initiated at the beginning of the cycle is kind of like saying, let's go for it. That's, there's some energy afoot, and but it's a crisis. Am I doing it right? Full moon, maximum reflected light back onto that sun, saying, here's a moment of decision. Did I make a wise choice to set my intention for that thing? And how well am I doing in that process? Last quarter moon, crisis in consciousness, the intentions begun at the new moon have reached a point of gestation where, you know, we have to recognize, is what I intended for this lunar cycle settled into my bones, settled into my thoughts, my consciousness? Can I sense, can I feel the energy of what it is that I intended to happen in this cycle? Was it successful? What tweaks might I still be able to give it as we go through this last quarter moon, which is a time of, releasing and letting go of those things that got us to the point we were at and prepare us for what we need to expand upon. Anyway, Monday's last quarter moon. Tuesday, the day I was talking about, Valentine's Day. We go, oh, Valentine's Day. What planet would we look at? Oh, Venus, of course. Venus is about partnership. Venus can be about love, And so, what kind of energies are in play for us on this particular Venusian Valentine's Day adventure? And here we are. There's Venus right next to Neptune. These two are dancing, a degree apart, and Venus moves pretty fast. Neptune, not so fast. Neptune has an affinity with the sign of Pisces, which is where they both sit. And Venus is, like I mentioned last week, it's exalted in Pisces. So therefore, it's got a tailwind that says, do your Venus thing. Venus is about partnership. How is the process of partnership going? But we must keep in mind that two factors. One is Pisces, the land of imagination and dreams, is on the table. Neptune, the planet that has a very strong affinity with the sign of Pisces, amplifies that dreamy nature. So now take that dream imaginal space and set it right down into the parameters of Valentine's Day. Can you see the possibility of falling in love? And then, with what are you falling in love? Is it a dream image? Is there an aspect of illusion that might be in the picture? I would just say that you need to pay attention to this. There might be some rosy, fluttery Valentine's images and flowers and jewelry and those kinds of the entrapments of the modern business world that are attempting to take advantage of this commercial opportunity. Save your receipts, because Venus moves quickly, remember. And so while the hopes of the perfect mate or mates might appear to be on the table while we go through this Valentine thing, I think opening up the hearts is still extremely helpful. Just be aware that at this particular Valentine's Day, things may appear rosier than they actually are. And I always say this to anybody who comes to me and says, I'd like to consider, the standard things that people like to consider when they do charts is, how are my relationships going? What's my ideal form of work? And is this the place where I need to be living? Well, right off the bat, relationships. What I let them know is, how is your relationship with yourself? Because if you are trying to establish a relationship with anybody else and you don't know what your relationship is with yourself first and primary, then what are the chances that you're going to discover something about yourself in this relationship experience that you are going to be surprised by? So, knowing yourself, yeah, we are complicated beings and we change as we go through life, but really, tuning in to what is that self adventure that your particular soul signed up for in this process. Can you, like the sign says, coexist with what it is you understand yourself to be, blended with the energy of somebody else who may have a slightly different perspective than you do? You'd almost count on that. And to, yes, I'm gonna look to see other things energy wise. That Valentine's Day, Tuesday. Tuesday is a Mars day, by the way, and just to add an extra little spice, shall we say, into the Valentine's Day matrix mix. Mars. Tuesday's a Mars day. Here's our Mars down here in Gemini, the unlimited capacity of curiosity. It drives. It's Mars. It's a driving curiosity. And to top it off, Mars has been out of bounds all year and will be out of bounds until May 5th. When a planet is out of bounds, and in this case it's Mars, that drive to accomplish things or to, if nothing else, initiate things is in an out of bounds fashion not going to be as predictable as we might hope for. There's, an out of bounds planet is, it's tuned in at an energetic level to experiences and processes that are just slightly beyond the everyday normal that we might be used to. And Mars, in this long range out of bounds thing, here on Valentine's Day, curious as it might be, and as we most assuredly are going to be, is in that out of bounds space in the most curious place of the entire zodiac, Gemini. So the impulse to, to spin a question out there, wonder. I wonder is a magical word about the process of, Valentine's Day relationship. Is there an ideal relationship? I think that's more of a philosophical question, also a essay question that each of us is going to have to answer for ourselves. I can't give you other than my perspective, and being a triple Aquarius, my perspective could seem a little far out to some of you. Anyway, 2 days later, the sun catches up with Saturn right up here in Aquarius at 27 degrees 44 minutes, 27 degrees 42 minutes for the sun, which means on that day, the sun is going to cross paths with Saturn, the great teacher planet. The life lesson process that we all sign up for is that Saturn energy. Saturn, ruler of Capricorn and Aquarius. Saturn, the wise elder. Saturn, time itself. Father Time. I would probably throw in Madam Time as well, because I don't think it has a generic prerogative. It is, and time, I don't want to get too far carried away with time, but it's it's more flexible than I think we realize. But the sun, the vitality of life passing between Saturn and the Earth, because the sun, after all, is closer to the Earth than Saturn, says that through me, as the vitality sun that I am, the life lessons are going to be, focused in an Aquarian fashion. And the questions might appear. Am I tuned into my cosmic tribe? That is Aquarius, after all. And Saturn, as the traditional ruler of Aquarius, says, if I am tuned into this energy that my cosmic tribe represents, what are we going to learn? What's on the table? What questions about the life experience are in this moment waiting for some inspiration, some intuitive infusion of, something new being born in this moment? What can we innovate here that will expand the process of what it is that we are about? Okay, and this is Thursday, by the way, a Jupiter day. And speaking of Jupiter down here, well, we won't get into Jupiter. We're going to go somewhere else. End of the week, the 19th. You can kind of see the sun moving along, or the moon moving along here, catching up with the sun. That's Saturday. This is Sunday. You see the moon down here. There it is, Sunday. The sun has passed Saturn. It's now moved into the realm of Pisces. This is a large, whenever any planet moves between signs, it's like there's a, we'll call it a road marker, a road sign, as it were, that's right there at that transition that says, at this point in time, there has been an energy shift. Are you paying attention to it? We've moved out of that airy quality of Aquarius. It is an air sign, by the way. It's not a water sign like some people think. And into what? A water sign. Pisces is a water sign. It's also the realm of the deepest, most profound investigation into the mysteries of life as to what source might be. What is the animating force that is driving all of life experience and processes? This resides in the realm of Pisces. It's more than just dreams and illusions. It's an opportunity to awaken an aspect of our being, to insight into our soul's quest, to actually be more than we thought we could be. And you can kind of see right now Venus, which since it's at 29 degrees 11, I'm guessing that on Monday, just take a big hit, it's going into Aries. So Venus not going to be happy in Aries. And this takes us back to Valentine's Day this week, when, that Venus stepping across that energy shift from the dreamy, watery space where everything is connected to everything else into Aries, where there's a sharp contrast and a divisions of energy and a separation that Aries can represent as it tries to initiate impulsively things of living, that it may not entirely understand. So when Venus shifts next week into Aries, it might be a comeuppance to what you thought may have been initiated on Valentine's Day. You just have to ask yourself, how deeply am I committed to myself? And in that invitation that I present from that self to another to participate with me, how is the trust factor? An interesting seeming side note, but is there really a side note? Is that the success of the journey through any Piscean energy signature depends, actually relies on a level of trust in something much bigger than what we often consider as ourselves. It is the trust in the soul of who we really are. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Anyway, that's a brief look at the energy that I see at play. All I can offer is what I see and what comes through from the energy of the dancing planetary celestials. Do what you will with it. And if you're really interested in, how this dance might play out in your individual own charts, I'm always available. Ask me a question. We both are going to be surprised, no doubt, as to where that might lead. So, ciao for now. See you all next week.